Hey, this is Steven from Legit PC, and this is going to be my review on Resident Evil 6. And I really enjoy playing this game, and I just want to say that this is one of my shortest reviews, and it definitely does not represent what all Resident Evil has. So here we're going to go over the graphics settings here. So you could set the cap on the frame rate, anti-aliasing, and I know on my 660 Ti, my GTX 660 Ti, I could run it all out because I did run the benchmark for the game, and you could see that in one of my previous videos. So I basically set everything on max, and I'll get, I think I max out like 100 frames, somewhere around there. So yeah, I just basically max it out, and yeah. So this game, I only put about 12 hours into it, and there's like 5 different campaigns, I think. Five campaigns, and it's about 30 hours full playthrough. I only went through 1.5 of the campaigns. I only played Leon's and Chris's, so I got a ways to go still. But of course, I think it gives me a good idea of what all the game has to offer and things like that. So yeah, great game, a lot of playthrough time and things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the game engine and what some of the battles are like. So this is one of course the battles where you're stuck in a room and there's a whole bunch of zombies, which, I mean, there are other parts of this game as far as like boss battles, but of course this is a Resident Evil game. You're fighting zombies most of the time. So in this case, you know, we're trapped in this ironically this gun shop, and zombies are surrounding us on all sides. And of course these are zombies that don't have guns or anything like that, so they just jump through the windows and things like that. And as you see with the green lettering over Helena's head, that means that there's another player that joined my game and is playing as Helena. And then here, you know, I get attacked and get bit. Have to be revived by a partner. But yeah, so I mean, this shows a little bit about like the game engine. The game engine is always I mean, it's not super intense or anything like that. It's very, very close. So usually you'll have like a city block, or you know, like a linear story setting. So like you can't really see too far, like too many buildings or too far down the road. So it makes it pretty nice to render. It's pretty easy to run the game. But yeah, so let's go. I mean, there's a lot of environments. Like here we have a underground station. So there's a lot of places to play, and it kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is one of my favorite games, and it goes through a lot of environments, and so does this one here. And I just want to show you guys some of the environments that you play through Leon, and I also have some of Chris's campaign in here. So of course, here's also zombies on a plane, right? So this is a plane mode. Well, not really a mode. It's a plane part of the story when you're traveling to China. So, I mean, there's a lot of different environments, and of course you have the boss battles as well as puzzles and things like that to solve. You know, that you got to figure out. And I found that the puzzles were pretty easy to solve. You don't have to look anything up or nothing super complicating. These boss battles sometimes could be pretty difficult. And sometimes you feel like, hey, I would really like to know how many bullets I actually need to put into this guy, so that, you know, you don't waste ammo, and am I actually hurting him by shooting him, things like that. But of course, it's kind of cool here that you have 4 different characters in the same mode. So you have some of the other campaign characters where their campaigns intersect. And you're also playing with them in this case they're NPCs. I mean, only your partner could be a real player. These other 2 have to be NPCs. And so next we're gonna go on to Chris. Now the crazy thing about Resident Evil 6 is that it's actually so deep. I didn't even know it was this deep, to where Chris and Leon's campaign have 2 different HUDs, 2 different types of guns, and of course 2 different attacking styles. I mean, Chris is a very you know, hands-on person to where he only uses his upper body to attack rather than Leon using kicks and things like that. And of course, so you have different enemies, different HUDs, different guns, different teammate styles, and it's pretty crazy. And actually, you'll see next that it even has like almost this World War II looking setting where you're in Eastern Europe, and sometimes you forget that, you know, you're firing against mutant. You know, it's pretty crazy. I was pretty surprised when I saw this. I was like, Eastern Europe looks like almost World War II, besides of course the trucks and things like that. But you know, you're still fighting the zombies. You know, you're still fighting the virus. But as you'll notice, these zombies all have guns, and none of the real ones, not really any of the ones in Leon's campaign had guns, which is pretty cool. You know, each campaign has different enemies to fight, and really give Resident Evil 6 and Capcom the props on that, because I haven't played a game like this in a while, to where you have that kind of depth in a game, to where you have different characters that have different HUDs and different guns and different enemies, as well as different partner fighting styles. Of course, some animations roll over to the other campaigns, but yeah. And of course, I personally think that I like Chris's campaign more than Leon's, so it's like, hey, I want to play the rest of them, right? Which is really cool, because it's like the next one's probably going to be even better, thinking like that type thing, which I think they established very well. And so now we're going to go into some of the customization that you could do for your campaign, and customize all that you want. And of course, you know, things I haven't said is that well, of course, you could pick up all these upgrades. Not really going to talk too much about that. And you could set in 3 upgrades and upgrade them further and things like that. But the things that I haven't talked about is, of course, you could join a game and have someone join on you, as long as you have the settings open, things like that. You can play with friends during campaign, and yeah, so, and as well as unlockables in the game, like these serpent tiles, where you could get files and figures. And now I'm going to go through one of the other game modes. This one is called Mercenaries, and they also have another game mode called Agent Hunt, where you could join one of the campaign games and fight against one of the real life players. So you could go around as you know, whatever kind of enemy that's there, and you could go and hunt the players, which was alright. You know, so some of the zombies kind of suck, and there's no real respawn, and sometimes they'll just run past you and things like that. So no real big deal. So of course here you could see that you could pick all your characters, and each of them had different loadouts. And you could also unlock more characters and also other different kinds of loadouts and things like that. In this particular one, I pick Chris. And yeah, so I basically run this footage until I run out of combo, and then I cut it there, and then we'll conclude the video. So yeah, is it an improvement on Resident Evil 5? I think that the gameplay is kind of similar. Some things are kind of, I guess they're a little bit more simple, and I think that the combat's actually a little better. The environments, of course, are a lot different, but it kind of resembles Resident Evil 5. It's not too far off. And of course, it's kind of strange that people weren't looking forward to this game as much. And also, because people said it was bad camera, I personally think it was pretty decent. And it was, of course, a budget game. I got it for $32 off Green Man Gaming, and it's a game that you can put 30 hours into and still have campaign and still unlock all the characters for Mercenaries, as well as try to beat your previous scores and play with friends and things like that. I personally probably even like it a little better than Nazi Zombies, but because I'm not really a big fan of Nazi Zombies. Especially on the new game. But yeah, that's another story. So yeah, there's plenty of modes to play, and you can spend playing along in this game and still have more stuff to do. Of course, I still have more stuff to do, but of course I gotta move on to the next game and do that. So I'll be back to this game and finish it and finish all the campaigns. what else? I think I've pretty much covered everything. And of course, like I said, you could expect a lot more in the game than what I've shown you. This is only, you know, a campaign and a half. And most of the combat is pretty generalized, so I didn't really want to keep repeating some of the combat. And I wanted to keep this a little more combat representative. There is, of course, quite a bit of cutscenes, and I think the story's pretty good. Of course, at the time, I thought, oh, you know, just Leon's story was like, it's okay. But then once you find out that each have different stories, right? And they each go to different places, and then they meet up at a certain point, and then, you know, they kind of just do their own thing. That, I think, is one of the biggest things. And of course, they didn't have that in Resident Evil 5. So, and of course, all included with the regular game. I mean, you don't have to buy any DLCs or anything like that to get the different campaigns. I think it's really a top-notch production, as well as, like I said, being cheaper than you know, playing $49 or $60. It's $39, and I got it for $32 on Premium. Alright, so this footage is coming up to an end here in a second, and so I just wanted to say in conclusion that if you guys are thinking about getting it, definitely get it. If you could find a good deal, do it. I mean, like I said, Green Man Gaming, good place to find a good deal, but definitely a must buy. So yeah, this has been Steven from Legit PC, and Resident Evil 6, good game, pick it up.